30,000 years ago, a wolf could kill you in under a minute. It had jaws that could snap bone like dry wood. Night vision that made the dark its territory, not yours. Pack coordination that turned a hunt into a military operation. You had a fire and a sharpened stick. And yet, that exact animal, the one hunting you in the dark, is now the thing that waits at the door when you come home. There are over 900 million dogs on Earth right now. They detect cancer. They guide the blind. They pull sleds across frozen tundra and also wear tiny sweaters to birthday parties. None of this was planned. No human tribe drew up blueprints for a companion animal. Nobody sat around a fire and said this: let's domesticate the apex predator that's been stalking us for generations. Dogs happened by accident. And here's the stranger part. Wolves may have started the process themselves. To understand this, you need to step back roughly 20,000 to 40,000 years. Humans at this time moved in small bands. Maybe 20 people, maybe 50. No cities, no storage, no margin for error. A single bad winter could erase a group entirely. A broken leg wasn't an inconvenience. It was a death sentence. This was the world in which dogs were born. Not in a lab, not on a farm. At the edge of the firelight, in the dark, while something was watching. Here's what was actually happening at those camps. Humans waste food. Even starving humans leave scraps. Bones, fat, half-eaten carcasses. The debris of a meal scattered at the edge of camp every single night. To a wolf living on the brutal economics of the hunt, where most attempts fail, a human camp was a revolving buffet. No stalking required. No risk of injury. Just proximity. The bold wolves crept closer. The aggressive ones, the ones that snarled or charged, got driven off or killed. The fearful ones, the ones that bolted at any noise, got nothing. But in between, there were wolves that were just a little calmer, a little less threatened by human presence. And those wolves ate better than any of the others. This is where it gets strange. Nobody chose these wolves. Nobody picked them for gentleness or bred them for loyalty. The environment simply punished aggression and rewarded calm, automatically, generation after generation. Evolution, operating on personality. No master plan, just scraps, selection pressure, and time. This sounds like it would take millions of years. It didn't. In 1959, a Soviet geneticist named Dmitry Belyaev ran an experiment in Siberia. He had foxes, and one very simple rule: each generation, breed only the calmest ones. No training, no tricks, just that single filter repeated across decades. Within a few generations, the foxes were wagging their tails, whining for attention, running toward humans instead of away from them. But then something nobody expected happened. Their bodies changed. Floppy ears appeared, snouts shortened. Fur grew in patches of white. Tails started to curl. When you select against aggression, you accidentally select for a whole cluster of physical traits that come along with it. Scientists call this domestication syndrome. The same thing almost certainly happened with the wolves at the edge of human camps, without anyone intending it. Here's where the relationship shifted from passive to active. Wolves hear things before humans do. They smell predators from distances that would seem impossible to you. They track moving prey like biological GPS. A calm wolf near camp wasn't just a scavenger anymore. It was an alarm system, a scout, a perimeter sensor that ran on table scraps. The moment humans realized that, or even just felt the benefit without understanding why, the relationship locked in. Dogs became the first domesticated animal in human history. Before sheep, before goats, before farming existed at all. And when humans invented agriculture thousands of years later, dogs changed again. Their guts evolved to digest starch, a trait wolves still largely lack, just to stay alongside us. Think about what that means. Dogs rewrote their own biology to match ours. When you lock eyes with a dog, both of your brains release oxytocin, the same bonding hormone that fires between a parent and a newborn child. Wolves don't do this with humans, only dogs. Evolution shaped that specific emotional response into them over thousands of generations, Because the dogs that made humans feel something were the ones humans protected, fed, and cared for. But nothing makes this clearer than one grave. In Germany, archaeologists found a burial site roughly 14,000 years old. A man, a woman, and a dog placed deliberately beside them. The dog had been severely ill as a puppy, sick enough that it should have died. But it survived, which means humans in the Ice Age, people barely keeping themselves alive, used their own food and energy to nurse a sick dog back to health. Think about that for a second. Not survival, not utility, something else entirely. Dogs crossed frozen continents with us. They guarded sleeping camps. They followed us into migrations, wars, and entirely new worlds. Not because they were trained to, because evolution made the bond mutual. All of this started with a few wolves that were slightly less afraid than the others. No plan, no invention, just the edge of the firelight, a pile of bones, and the slow pressure of time. Tonight, somewhere in your house, a dog is going to find the spot closest to you and lie down. It won't know why. You probably didn't either, but now you do.